officially doing the Highway 70 haul videos. It's a lot later than I expected. My growth the last few weeks has been absolutely insane. So everything is sort of getting pushed back a little bit farther than I planned as I acclimate to that. But it's very exciting. First off, I am going to do part 1 now. I'm going to turn around and eat my catfish gumbo I have simmering on the stove. And then I'm going to come right back and film part 2. And that will be posted tomorrow. So part 1 will be posted very late tonight, possibly even after midnight. So sorry about that because I planned on it being earlier. And then part 2 will be posted tomorrow, probably midday after I get back from the post office. But it's exciting because I won't tell you everything, but I made myself a goal that by the end of June, I wanted to be netting a specific amount weekly. And it is the first week of June, and I have surpassed that goal by a significant chunk. So that is exciting, 1, because it's just exciting, but 2, I am going to, because of that, because I am achieving the numbers I wanted to and I planned on achieving, it has proven to me some things about my plan that I came up with that is making me feel comfortable going into what sold videos more consistently. So I am going to do a what sold video on Tuesday, and I will go through everything that sold last week. I need to clean some plushes, so I'm probably going to clean plushes while I put up my sold comps for the items and discuss what I paid for and what they sold for and why I purchased them for resale. And I'll kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And then probably Thursday, I'm going to show my growth since January, like monthly growth in sales, and it'll be the eBay net sales, so you know that it's after all the shipping, it's after the eBay fees. And I'll show that growth, and I'll start to dive a little bit into the algorithms, and every week until I run out of things to talk about with the algorithms, I'm going to make a video where I again discuss my weekly sales growth or even loss in growth, and give a little bit more information about the algorithms, because there's a lot of new people here, and probably most of y'all have not watched all of my videos. Some of them are kind of painful to watch, honestly. But the thing is I started last January with like 91 items listed in my store. I had to liquidate at the end of last year to move to help my mom and dad. My mom had been diagnosed with leukemia, and so I came out here to help them, and I liquidated like most of my personal belongings and my inventory. And I essentially restarted with 91 items, my feedback that I'd built over the like prior 18 years, and then my knowledge. And I had to start from the ground up. But the year prior, I had spent pretty much that entire year toying with the eBay algorithms, trying to figure out the patterns, because I'm a patterns person. And whenever I would hit bumps in the roads, I would reassess and play around with the algorithms again, until I came up with sort of the best scenarios when it comes to algorithms. I don't think I'm wording it appropriately, but basically I feel pretty confident that I've gotten pretty good at overcoming the algorithms and working within that structure. They can change, but we're not going to talk about that right now. So that video will be coming probably Thursday, and each week I'll start posting a video like that, so that hopefully I can help some people with that, because that is very frustrating when you're working really hard and things just still are not going in your favor, it gets really frustrating. I had a long chat one day with eBay about their algorithms. But I'm going to get into the haul, and it's going to get overwhelming here because honestly, I was kind of disappointed at first, but then when I started processing everything and really got the overall view of everything I found in those 3 days, it's actually pretty good. It's not, you know, it's not all my favorite, most exciting stuff, but it's solid. Like it was good. It's good. So we're gonna just get started. At some point I will end this. I'll go eat my gumbo and then I'll come back and start part 2. This was out in the middle of nowhere off of a road. Some of those that I went to like out in the middle of nowhere kind of creep me out. There's actually a couple clips that I didn't even add into my video because they were very uncomfortable. But this couple ended up being very friendly. They did have some like vintage coloring books and things like that, but they were all just in really rough condition. But I did pick up this Fisher-Price monkey, 1994. And when you shake him, I shouldn't have done that. When you shake him, he makes noises. It is the parachute, like nylon material. That I picked it up because those can do super well, and it was just $1. And I wasn't sure like what it was valued at. Obviously out there in the middle of nowhere, you don't have phone service, so there's no way to comp. Even if I did have phone service, I don't pay for phone service right now, but the parachute ones tend to do good, and it is Fisher-Price. It's only gonna sell for maybe $10, but it's fine. I'm still making money on it. I picked this up the first day, which wasn't actually technically the first day of the sale. I decided on Wednesday to go out and sort of scout things out, and I was thinking that maybe some people would set up early, and I was right. I ended up going to like 4 or 5 different sales, and I actually had a pretty good day that day. But I picked this up that first day, and it was actually Wednesday. But this is a PFG Columbia. It's got the flag, like fishing thing. It did have like a little oil spot here, but I was able to get that off. At some point I'll show you how I do that. I'm not going to go into that now because we got way too much to do. And I was able to like kind of clean up the inner part here. So it is in pretty nice condition. It's only gonna go for maybe like $12 to $15. And I did end up spending, I think, $3 on it. But that first day, I was really just trying to get like a feel for things. And since I'd driven out there, I was gonna buy what I needed to make money. So I'll still make money on that. This I picked up the second day, and I actually got it with all of these quilt tops back here. It essentially, the cost is basically negligent because of what I'll discuss the quilt tops in a minute. But it does still have its original tag. It's dated 1994, made in Hong Kong. I have a soft spot in my heart for Smokey the Bear because I was born in the Smoky Mountains. So pretty much anytime I find something vintage Smokey the Bear, I end up getting it. He will go for about $10. It's super easy to deal with. He's in really nice condition too. His tag's a little crinkly, but he's in good condition. I bought this the third day at a church rummage sale, and I'm sorry this is not in order by sale. There's absolutely no way that I'm going to be able to manage doing that. But I got this the third day at the church sale that was like 5 miles away from Highway 70. And I actually found some good stuff there. Bob the Builder, a lot of people loved Bob the Builder, and there's not tons of his toys out there. And he is now technically vintage. So I do pick him up when I find him. The value has not gone up crazy yet, but he will consistently sell, and at some point he will become more collectible. This one is 2004. I think he's like 16, 17 inches or so. And he will go for probably about $14. I got him for 50 cents. And then I got this SpongeBob pillow for 50 cents. I'm not sure of the date because the tag is washed away. But I did look it up. I think it was 2004, either 2003, 2004. So it's pretty early SpongeBob, like Y2K SpongeBob. Some of the SpongeBob stuff, the early stuff, is super rare because kids really hadn't. It was kind of like when it first came out. Like if you grew up in the 90s, there was like shows like Beavis and Butthead and Ren and Stimpy, and some parents wouldn't even let their kids watch it. The SpongeBob was kind of almost the same style and like humor and stuff, and so it didn't catch on like super fast immediately, but then it took like a sharp upward turn. And so some of the very original SpongeBob stuff, there's not a lot of it because it really hadn't like caught on at first. Now this will only go for maybe $15 to $20, but it's super cool. Like I wasn't gonna leave that, and it was 50 cents. I'm not gonna leave that behind. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about these quilt tops real quick because they're in my way. So I showed up to the one, and it was a weird dynamic because in the garage everything was like set up perfectly, and they had like their own like cash register area set up, and they had like cookies for sale. It was like very pristine, but right before you got to the garage, like on your right hand side, there was just like one table with just stuff piled up everywhere. And I was like, is this like trash, or I didn't know what was going on. But I did notice something else on the table that I'll show you in a minute. And then I noticed the quilt tops. And, you know, people in the South can be very sentimental about their quilts, and they can overprice them a lot of times, especially based on the condition. So I almost didn't even ask. But when I brought the other item in, and what it ended up being was that a whole nother lady had her little stuff set up prior to getting to the garage. So she was like a friend of that family who had set up her stuff separately. And so when I brought the first item and she gave me such a low, it was a very low price, it was a quarter, 25 cents. I went ahead and asked her about the quilt tops, and she was like, well, do you want all of them or do you want one? I was like, well, it kind of depends on the condition. I can look at them. And so I get closer and I'm like, the colors are really vibrant and they weren't like tattered. And she was like, kind of explaining them to me, and I was like, well, what would you want for all of them? And she's like, well, I got, you know, these, and I got these in these hampers, and I got this whole box here on the table, which you couldn't even see in that box. So I didn't even know there was like more quilt tops. And I was like, oh wow. And she's like, you know, the whole time I'm thinking she's gonna throw out like some crazy number because I'm just used to that in the South with quilts. So then she's like, if you want all of them, $10. And I'm like, well, load them up. I ended up giving her 20 because she, at that point, what it was is it was like stuff left from her grandmother's storage unit, and apparently her grandmother had made like 25,000 quilt tops supposedly. I don't know, that seems like a lot, but at the same time I ended up getting like 12. So, but she had been trying to sell off like all of this stuff out of the storage unit, and so she was just at the point where she just wanted things gone because it was just too much. Like, you know, she was having trouble getting rid of all of it. So she kept trying to throw in free stuff, you know, like she was like, just take the Smokey Bear and just take the other item and yada yada. And so I ended up just giving her 20 because I knew I was getting a good deal, and I knew that one of the other items would probably cover the cost of everything. But so I actually only thought that I was going to end up like 6 to maybe 8 quilt tops that were worth selling, and I ended up with quite a few more. So I have like 4 in the dryer right now. These have all been washed on a delicate cycle and dried with no heat 2 cycles, because when you dry things with no heat, it tends to take longer. So I didn't want to mess them up, and essentially that's why I took my time with them. But after 4 loads of clothes, the last group is like on its last cycle, and then this is what I've gotten, and there are 4 in there. Those are all pretty much the same as these top 4, which are all like either just cotton or a mixture of cotton and polyester. Like this one's more like the size of a throw, and it's like 60s. This is pretty much all 60s fabric right here. This is just like, these are more modern, which I'm going to have to delint this because when I washed it, it shed. These newer materials shed like really badly at the fringes. So I have to lint it, but it's just a small throw, and it's got like owls and ducks and turkeys and quails. And I probably won't do a whole lot on this, maybe like 15-20 bucks, but for somebody's cabin or for like a fall themed thing or something like that, it'll work pretty well. And it's in really good condition. That one, and then this one is definitely more like at least 40s, 50s fabric, and maybe even some Great Depression era fabric, because some of these really kind of look like the flour sack patterns that I've seen. So this could actually be like 30s, 40s. Now there is some spotting, there's a little bit more wear to this one, but that's just indicative of its age. Typically things out of the like 20s, 30s, 40s, it's very rare that they don't have some type of wear, but it doesn't have any big holes or like really major damage. So that should still do pretty good. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to price this one at because I need to do a little bit more looking into it. I haven't sold an older quilt top in a minute. This was just an extra, this was one of the things she's like, just take this too. And it was just a piece of polyester fabric from like probably the 60s, striped like pastel lavender and that mint green. So I'll end up selling this probably like, there's decent yardage here, so probably about $20 for that. Another cotton one. This is probably all like late 60s into the 70s, like mid to late 70s fabric. So not super old, but it does have that cool like sort of 70s patchwork, you know, look to it. So I think this one will still do all right. It won't be as valuable as these other like polyester ones. And then I got, let's see here, I think 4 of these bigger ones. Now this is actually labeled, like she wrote in Sharpie on the underside corner, king. So I believe this fits a king size bed. I'm gonna measure it, but when I was folding it, I'm pretty sure this fits a king size bed. And the colors are really good. I haven't, on any of these, I haven't seen anything more than like a little tiny hole or mark, but nothing like really significant. And it's just very bright, very nice condition. It doesn't have any crazy odors or anything like that, which is rare coming out of that time period. So I think these will actually do pretty good. The king size ones, I'm gonna look, but I may end up listing those between the $70 and $100 range because of their condition and the size. The others are probably gonna get listed probably about the $50 to $60 range, like these polyester ones. I believe this is probably like a twin or maybe a full size, but also again, very good condition for its age. This one is probably my favorite, probably a tie between these two, honestly. I can't remember this specific pattern, what they call it, but it's just all tiny squares, diamond something, I don't know. But it's just, it's so elaborate, you know, and the colors and everything is just awesome. So I will probably ask a good bit for this one also. And then this one is also labeled a king. And again, I cannot remember. I really need to study my pattern names because I would like to sell more quilts. It looks like some sort of star or something. But again, amazing color scheme, very iconic, like prints and patterns, nice condition, king size. So lowball estimate, we have like $500 to $600 in quilt tops here, because I got the other 4 in the dryer. So that ended up turning out to be one of the better purchases that I made in all of this. Which now I have to figure out where I'm gonna put these quilt tops. Set y'all up there and put you on top. Okay. But yeah, it turned out to be one of my better purchases over the weekend. Am I not giving you attention? Why am I so mean? Why am I so mean? All right, anywho, this I also got on the first day, and it ended up being, I didn't even realize it because I haven't been here long enough to really get to know people, but it ended up being one of the estate sale dealers whose estate sale I had been to, and she remembered me, but I did not remember her. Once she said something, I was like, I think I do remember you, but I didn't remember her. I get very overwhelmed in like social situations, so I tend to not remember people's faces until I've seen them a few times. But they were set up on the side of the road near an antique store that I go to sometimes. And this is really cool. It's got like a stone in the center, and I think it's like, I don't think, it might be like the bloodstone or whatever, because it's like orange swirls, but they're not super bright orange against black. But then it's got like this ornate sort of brass elements in the black, and then it's got these little, like, I have no idea if this is zooming in or you can even see it, but it's got like little like petunias at each corner. I just think it's got a cool like aesthetic. It was $3. I'm probably maybe gonna get like 20 for that or so. On the third day, I think right after no, this was the second day, because I was getting kind of frustrated because the second day I went through the edge of Jackson and then outward towards like Huntington and all that, but still sort of on the outskirts of Jackson. A lot of dealers were set up and everything was overpriced, and it was like broken and junky, and it was like basically all their leftovers. So I just got tired of it, and I drove like 10 miles down the Highway 70 to try to get away from all of that, and I started finding better yard sales. But this, I think she was also some kind of dealer, somebody who probably dealt more with like quantity or like auctions than someone who really sort of priced everything at full retail. And I found some pretty good things there. These are not super valuable. They're the Bakelite, like marbled handled, and I think they're like angel food cake cutters or something like that. Because at first I remember thinking they were cheese, like slicers, and I ended up being wrong. But I have a feeling they're for angel food cake. I might still be wrong. I'm gonna have to look them up again. But it does have the like marbled, like brown and sort of yellows. They're only gonna go for maybe $8 to $10, so not the best, but I like picking up Bakelite because they always eventually sell. They always end up selling, and they normally don't even take that long, maybe like 5 or 6 months at most. So I went ahead and picked those up. A lot of times when I see Bakelite in good condition, I just grab it if it's like $1 or less. Third day, after the, can you not clean your feet on camera? Hey, 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 people can see you. Hey, people are watching you. It's raining outside, so they came inside, and she does not like her feet to be dirty. So that's what she's doing, and I'm sorry. But after the church rummage sale thing, I went back out to Highway 70 instead of going towards, like, it connects at like Huntington, and instead of going towards Jackson, I went towards Camden. And one of the first places I stopped there was like set up like a flea market almost. And I'd stopped almost stopping at places like that because there's so many people reselling, but because I was farther out, you know, and not like in the city, I went ahead and stopped because obviously those smaller towns, they don't get as much traffic, so they're not able to sell things like at retail or above most of the time. Like a lot of places, and other resellers will say this, a lot of places in the South, antique stores and stuff, they literally price things above retail. And it's because a lot of people still don't realize you can get it on eBay. They don't understand that what the value is in an antique store possibly is nowhere near what it is sometimes on eBay. Like sometimes it's way more, sometimes it's way, way less. Like, you know, you go into antique stores around the South and you still see milk glass priced like $20, $30, $40. Nobody's gonna pay that much on eBay, unless it's like a rare or very older piece. Anyways, but I decided to stop because it was out past the city, and the very first thing I walked up to, he had a table, and this is the very first thing I saw, because that is like 90s Chuck E. Cheese there. It's actually 1995 Showbiz Pizza Time, which, helpful information for those who don't know, Chuck E. Cheese, which is currently Chuck E. Cheese now, has been Chuck E. Cheese since like, I think, mid-90s, maybe early 90s, but I don't think too early, because I still remember going to Showbiz when I was like 10 or 11. But it's Chuck E. Cheese's. Prior to that, it was Showbiz, and prior to that, at the very beginning, for a very short period of time, it was Pizza Time, or yeah, Pizza Time. So different things over all the generations that are Chuck E. Cheese could be labeled Showbiz, could be labeled Pizza Time, could be labeled both, like this is Showbiz Pizza Time. So if you find something that says Pizza Time, it's probably really, I actually just sold one of the Jowl, JP Jowl, or I can't remember his name. It's the hound dog, and he was only labeled Pizza Time. He was one of the very original plushes, and I sold him for like $78 or something. So Chuck E. Cheese is collectible. A lot of people love Chuck E. Cheese. It, you know, has taken a turn in the recent years, but a lot of people have very strong childhood memories of Chuck E. Cheese. That was their special day, that was their birthday party, that's where they had all their friends. So Chuck E. Cheese is very collectible, it's very nostalgic. This is in pretty good condition. It does have a little split here in the decal. I did have to like magic erase this and clean it up just a little bit. And when you have these like older pieces with decals on them, be really careful. Like I did my best to not get water anywhere here. Now if this had been like completely like original, getting water on it probably wouldn't have affected it that much, as long as you're not soaking it in the water. But when it has splits like this, or if it has any kind of wear that sort of goes through the glossiness of the decal, you don't want to get water on it, because even just a little bit of water can seep into that, and it'll cause it to start bubbling, and the value is just going to go down pretty quickly. But it does have its thermos. He only charged me $5, so it was a really good deal. The thermos is actually in really nice condition. I should be able to get about 40, maybe 50 for this. So that was a good find, and it made me happy. So with the quilt tops and the Smokey the Bear, this was that first item I picked up that she told me 25 cents on. And it is a vintage Disney, let me see if it has a date. It does not. Made in China. But it would probably be about 1994-ish, 95-ish. Hunchback of Notre Dame. Now, during that time, there were several Disney movies and animated movies that just didn't catch on. There was like Fern Gully, Atlantis, Treasure Planet, Hercules, Hunchback, probably some more. It was before Pixar started coming in and after the sort of classic Disney. And honestly, they were kind of ahead of their time, and people just didn't latch on to the stories and the animation at that time like they had the classic stuff. But the styling of that animation, it's not like anime, but it's closer to that than the classics, because there's crazier colors and there's like all these different angles and like scenes and everything like moving differently. There's different humor in it and different music, and it was just a period of Disney that isn't as well known, but the younger generations love those movies. Like, they like many of those movies more than all the other Disney movies. Obviously, they love Disney Pixar, but that grouping of movies they really enjoy. Because it did not latch on at the time, they did not make a lot of merchandise. So when you find, you know, any of those sort of mid to late 90s Disney merchandise pieces, almost no matter what it is, typically it will sell for something. Very few of those have like no value at all. This will probably only go, right now it'll only go for like maybe $15, maybe $20. I'm probably gonna list it maybe like a month or two and list it a little bit higher, because obviously stockings are not selling right now. So the comps that I'm getting in the middle of the summer are not what it will sell for around Christmas time. So I probably will list this one closer to like 30 or so, but I'm gonna wait about a month to do that. After the first day, going out into that first, like that Wednesday, the first few yard sales, I did stop at the Goodwill, and I did find these Roxy chess pieces. Roxy chess pieces do pretty well. They always have Roxy written somewhere on them. These are just like plastic. They're not crazy made, but I'm guessing there's some type of chess set, or I don't know, maybe they're just preferred. I mean, they do have like a cool sort of like medieval vibe to them. I have not checked yet to see if they're all here, but it looks like the appropriate amount. If they're not all here, I'll either sell them for a parts or replacement lot, or I'll just part them out completely. These, if it is complete, will probably sell for about $30, maybe $35 for the lot of them, and it was $3.99. That same Goodwill trip, I did also pick up this Miss Beaton's Book of Household Management. So I kind of discussed in that video that some of these books that are based out of like older times, before they really started just injecting all of our food and recipes and everything with like chemicals and preservatives and like anything herbalist that's hard to find, anything like with recipes that are hard to find. This has like household remedies. It has just a bunch of interesting things. but that stuff tends to do pretty well. I'm about to sneeze. Maybe not. Maybe not. My dog's staring at me like I've lost my mind. I'm good. So this is obviously like a reprint. I think it was like 2010. But I think originally, if I'm not mistaken, it's from like 1918 or something. I can't remember. It'll probably be in the comp. But things like this just do well. Like this even tells you how to like smoke bacon and everything. So some of these are listed all the way up to like $150. The lowest one, there's only like 6 or 7 listings right now. The lowest one is listed at $45 free shipping. This will probably ship for about $5 or $6. So I'm probably gonna do like maybe $38.79 free shipping and just see. All right. That first day where I got, oh, I haven't even gone over any of that. This is a Little Einstein 2006, or Baby Einstein, Little Einstein. I think it's still Little Einstein actually. 2006. It is the Air spacecraft, and it is not like working. I know it has flaws, but these do really well. If you find them new, you're talking like $200+. If you find them with the spacecraft and all the figures, you can get upwards of $150. If you just have the spacecraft, you can usually get like $50 pretty easily. This is supposed to make sound, and it's supposed to like, I'm pretty sure this is supposed to like disengage when you push that button. It's not doing that. So I'm gonna put it like not working, 4 parts, that kind of thing. But I'm still pretty confident I can get at least $20 or $30 for this because it is so rare. And I only paid $1 for it. It's pretty cool. I like that. Let's see. At the sort of flea market-y one where I found the Chuck E. Cheese, I'll go ahead and go over these real quick. I walked up and the first thing I saw was Cabbage Patch head, doll head. I knew they probably wouldn't be super valuable, or somebody would have obviously bought them. But doll heads and doll parts and doll pieces can sell pretty well. People have really gotten into like, what do they call it? It's not, I can't remember what they even call it right now. I can't think of the word. But basically like morphing dolls. So one, it's got the whole Cabbage Patch history to it, but 2, that's sort of like a thing that people enjoy doing now, is making their own crazy looking dolls. So I went ahead and asked him, and I was honestly thinking he was going to say like $3 or $4 a piece. And so when he said 50 cents each, I was like, well, I'll take them all. And there was 6 of them sitting there. And he was like, you'll take them all? Like, he sounded so excited. And he's like, I got more in the truck. These are 1985, 1984, 1985. But he went and got the rest out of his truck. He ended up having a total of 30. No. Yes. No. 12. No. Oh, I've lost my mind. Yes. I'm really struggling with math today, I think I need sleep. 30. of these. I paid him $15 for the 30. The red-headed ones go better because obviously they didn't make as many of those. The brunettes with the brown hair, they look to go like maybe $5 a piece. But there's 30 of them and it's one listing. So I'm gonna take a picture of one. I'm gonna let them know. I'm probably gonna pick one where the box is more worn than this, like more messed up. And I'm gonna let them know the box is in not great condition, but the doll head is in good condition. Take pictures of one, do a quantity listing. So put 30 quantity under the price in the listing, and then just sit back and let them sell, because I spent $15. Even if I only do get $5 a piece, there's a 30, that's $150 off $5 or $15, but I'm only doing one listing. So it's kind of like you spent $15 on, you know, an electronic or something and made $150, except that you do have to do a little bit more shipping. So I will say that when I do quantity listings like that, I want it to be something simple like this. Like, I don't want it to be breakable. I don't want it to be big or cumbersome or anything like that. These will just go in some packaging paper, or maybe even just like a baggie into a like 6x6 box. And the outer box is already slightly damaged. It's just gonna be shipped very easily, very likely. So that will be easy for what I paid. I will show you my artwork real quick. Then I'm going to show you the bag in here and break down these prices. And then I think that's going to be my stopping point for this video. Because I honestly don't know how long I've even gone yet. But on the first day where I got the spacecraft, I also got this August Holland, I'm pretty sure it's like a lithograph. Yeah, Litho in USA. You can kind of tell, like, lithographs have like this pastel-y coloring, and the print is not like super sharp most of the time. I couldn't even see this. It was wrapped in bubble wrap, so I wasn't even sure like the condition or anything, but it looked in pretty good condition. And lithographs do pretty well, and I could tell the coloring enough. Like, I could see basically this, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a lithograph. And it was only $2. I did not know it was August Holland. August Holland, he did a bunch of paintings that are valuable. Most of his prints are not valuable. The only one I know of that is valuable, and I'll try to post a comp, it's like a Polynesian theme, like almost Hawaiian, like tiki theme. Very like sort of 60s, almost psychedelic looking. And that one does really well, like really well. This one, didn't find it, no sold comps, but this one, it's a lithograph. People like their gallery walls. Some of the younger millennials and older Gen Z are starting to get out to where they're decorating their own stuff. So I'm going to sell this on aesthetic alone. So I'm going to put in like woodland creatures, cottage, core, forest. You know, I'm going to put the artist name in there, but the artist name in this scenario is less important than the keywords that I'm going to use to sell it. I'm probably going to do like, I don't know, like $38 free shipping. More than likely, no matter where I ship this, it's probably not going to cost me more than $18, probably less. So with it being $2, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I just, you know, I thought it was cool. I like it. I like old stuff. I'm also starting to try to build a few art/print pieces back into my store. I feel like art and prints are underrated sometimes. Yes, they take a little bit more to package, but if you can sell one solid print or art piece a week, you're raising your sales pretty significantly over the year. I will at some point show y'all good ways of packaging them. This is the Margaret Kane, like the boy kissing the girl print. This doesn't go for crazy money, probably $30 to $40 plus shipping, but it is framed really nicely. So I am going to probably list it at that higher range and just let it sit there, because this one actually, like the aging to the frame and everything, it's a really nice piece. And this was only $1, so I am perfectly fine just letting it sit there for a while. And then the last one, honestly, like the last sort of art piece, I kind of wish I hadn't got it, because it's going to be a real pain in the ass. It's one of the velvet embellished pieces. I have dealt with the owl and the peacock. I actually kept the owl for a while and then sold it in an auction when I liquidated. But I have not seen or dealt with the eagle. It is dusty. The downside to these is that they get lint all over them. I have figured out to take the hose, just the hose of the vacuum, and I can go around to the bulkier areas and get most of it off. Don't let it get near the embellishments, because it will suck them right off. And then I'll take the part of the sticky paper off of the lint brush, and I'll actually just like use my hand and go over the other areas. So it's really, it doesn't take as long as I'm making it seem, but I just kind of wish I hadn't, because the main reason is that the owl does pretty well, the peacock does the best. There are like 3 or 4 of the eagles listed, all the way up to $150, like between, I think it's between like 70 and 150, somewhere around there. None have sold. So I think part of what it is that people, because I didn't know the eagle existed. I've seen the others, but I didn't know the eagle existed. So I'm guessing there's fewer of the eagles, and people are not aware that they exist. So people haven't caught on to that they even exist, you know. So I'm also going to end up needing to use strong keywords to sell this one, because I'm going to need people to be able to find it. What I may do, because I've stopped promoting most of my listings because it's just not working in my favor. In my experience so far, there are many weeks where I would end up spending more in the promotion than it would actually increase my sales. So if I'm going to be paying eBay more, then I should be seeing a significant increase in my sales. That wasn't happening. So I've stopped promoting most of my listings, but in some cases I will use it to my benefit, because it may be something that just isn't well known, and it will work better in something like this. So I probably, because those other eagles are listed higher, I probably will list it towards those higher prices and then promote it, so that if somebody does find it and really like it, then that might start to catch on with the others. But I'm going to use like glam rock, like hippie or something. Like I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna figure out what word groupings I can use to really try to sell this piece. But it was $2, so you know what? If I end up selling at a yard sale for $5, whatever. We're gonna experiment. Knock the art pieces over. I know. You have to get my attention. Alright, so real quick, like, now where I found the Bakelite, when I first walked up, one of the first things I saw was a big box. And I was thinking I could probably get them pretty cheap, but then I noticed it said $5 on the box. And I was thinking, are these really $5 a piece? Because last time I looked, they're not that valuable. So I asked her, and it ended up being $5 for the whole box. And at that point, I was like, I'm going to take them. So this was a whole box of different brands and types of flash bulbs and cubes. I have dealt with some of them before, so I'll show y'all how I end up breaking down this box into various lights, or lots. Think about light bulbs and lots at the same time. So these are all basically the ones that are less valuable. So these are all going to go into one lot, probably like $20–$30 max, plus shipping. I'm gonna try to get them sold quickly because those are the bigger ones. They're less valuable. I just want those gone. Then I have almost an entire box of the M3 flash bulbs. There are 12 bulbs to a box, and there's 11 sealed boxes within its original, like, manufacturing box. So I should be able to sell this pretty easily for $40. So I'm gonna sell that whole box by itself for $40. The last one sold, I think, for $50, but it had all 12, and that just has 11. So then we got the magic cubes. The magic cubes tend to go for right at $10 per pack. So we have 4 of those, so that'll be like $40. Then we have the General Electric miniature lamps. This box alone will sell for like $10. Then we have these, the high power cubes, like flash cubes. These typically only sell for like $4 or $5 a pack. I'm gonna lot all of them together and do like 20, maybe less, maybe a little less on those. Again, another lot of these flash cubes. I think these go for a little bit more than those, because they are the 3 packs. And if I remember correctly, I'm probably gonna do $30 on that lot. Then we got these little like flip flash things, and there's 4 here. These do not sell very well, so that's probably going to be like a cheaper, like maybe $15 lot or something. And then we have flash bulbs. We have 4 packs of the AG1s. I can probably sell all of those for $20. This 1 pack of the AG3B will probably go for about $10. And then we have all these packs of the AG1B. And that will probably go for like $20 to $30 for the lot. So, you know, we got 30, 20, 20, we'll just say 10 on these. I don't really want to deal with those. So 80, 100, and 30, 170, 10, and then we'll just say 20 on these because I really don't know what I'm going to. So $230 on a $5 investment. Now I'm going to note that the boxes are worn, that they're kind of dusty, because I'm not going to go around trying to wipe dusty boxes off. But it really shouldn't affect the value too much. And I'll show you this very last thing real quick, just to kind of get it out of the way. So at that same cell right beside the flash bulbs was a box of 1950s Popular Science and Popular Mechanics magazines. These don't have incredible value right now, which is kind of weird to me because I think this is like that nuclear era, like just really cool advertisements, and everything was exploding in like mechanics and tech, and mostly like mechanics really, and science. So I love them. I kind of haven't decided if I'm going to sell them or keep them. Probably if I sell them, I'm not going to be getting more than like $8 a piece for them. I could take the ads out if I wanted to be cruel. and sell those individually and make way more. But these are in overall pretty decent condition, so I haven't decided yet. I'm either gonna just go ahead and sell them $8 a piece. I may lot them together for a little bit more, even though magazines tend to get heavy quick, and if they have advertisements, you can't send them media mail. You'll get yourself in trouble. So the best way to ship them is in a priority box, like a medium priority mailbox, which is like at $18 now. It's nuts. So you end up, that's one reason magazines have kind of gone down in the value, because most of the cost is being put into shipping. So typically now you're going to make your most money if you sell them individually. So someone who's looking for that specific issue will pay, you know, the more reasonable shipping for one magazine that doesn't weigh as much, plus you'll make some money off of it. Anyways, but I don't know. I mean, just look, it's like the Orbiter. Like, this is like before we landed on the moon. 1949. So it's crazy to me that it's just not super valuable. Now, I haven't stopped. There's even like old motorcycles in here. What? And they got gas mask. Look. Water-cooled motorcycle starts by hand. Oh, they even put a little section for the ladies in here. Look. They got keeping the home ship shape. Got it. Anywho. So crazy. Oh, they got like fly fishing. Like, you can make your own fishing lures. And these magazines were happening back in time. I love them too because it just has like all the old tools. The illustrations are cool. Anyways, you know what? I'm probably gonna end up keeping them. I'm probably just gonna keep them. But if I wanted to sell them, I would get about $8 a piece. Maybe some of them are a little more valuable. Like, this is the 50th golden anniversary, 1952. It's got like the Statue of Liberty on there. I would say if I did sell them, maybe about $100 worth here. So I just spent like the $5. But they're gonna be hard to let go for $8 a piece. That's just, I don't know. That's just crazy to me. I might end up putting them in the plastic bags and just flipping through them, holding them back until they're actually worth something. So I'm gonna make that my first stopping point. I'm starving. I'm gonna go eat my gumbo. I'm gonna fold the rest of my linens so that I can show those to you, and then we will go over the rest of the Highway 70 finds. I will see y'all technically in the same day, but sort of tomorrow. Bye.